हरे कृष्ण। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदामह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरौ श्रीयुक्तापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथं तं साजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्णा पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितं च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, welcome again. So we shall have a short kirtan and then we shall go to your class. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jagopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jagopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Raja Jana Yashodanandana Raja Jana यमुनतीरावनचारी यमुनतीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। थैंक यू। So I shall share the screen. So I should be doing a sloka number 9.10 today. Welcome. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Hare Krishna. And the pranam to all. So today's sloka is here. I hope you all can see the sloka now. Is it visible? Yes, I think it's visible now. Okay. Next one. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sloka number 9.10. This is from chapter 9, verse number 10. Maya Dekshana Prakriti Suyate Sa Characharam Hetunane na Kaunteya Jagat Viparivartate. Means Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti Suyate Sa Characharam Hetunanena Kaunteya Jagat Viparivartate. Hare Krishna. Would like anybody would like to recite this sloka? Any volunteers?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Maharaji. Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti
Mayadhyakshena prakriti
Suyate Sa Characharam
suyate sa characharam
Hetunanena Kaunteya
hetunanena kaunteya
Jagat Viparivartate.
jagat viparivartate.
So, anybody who has got the Bhagavad Gita book in front of you can open to page number 407. I'm just going to read out the word to word meaning and then we shall go to the translation. Hare Krishna. Maya by me, Adhyakshena by the superintendents, Prakriti material nature, Suyate manifest, Sa both, Characharam chara acharam the moving and the non-moving, Hetuna for the reason, Anena this, Kaunteya O son of Kunti, Jagat the cosmic manifestation, Viparivartate is working. So translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. The material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving beings. Under this rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. Okay, we shall read through the purport. It's not quite long, not quite short also. It is clearly stated that the Supreme Lord, although aloof from the activities of the material world, remains the Supreme Director. The Supreme Lord is the Supreme Will and the background of this material manifestation, but the management is being conducted by material nature. Krishna also states in Bhagavad Gita that all of the living entities in different forms and species, I am the father gives the seed to the womb of the mother for the child, and similarly, the Supreme Lord, by his mere glance, injects all living entities into the womb of material nature, and they come out in different forms and species according to their last desires and activities. All these living entities, although born under the glance of the Supreme Lord, they take the different bodies according to their direction, according to their energy. Am I reading the same page? Sorry. According to their past deeds and desires. I repeat again. The Supreme Lord take all these living entities, although born under the glance of the Supreme Lord, take their different bodies according to their past deeds and desires. So the Lord is not directly attached to this material creation. He simply glances over the material nature. Material nature is thus activated, and thus everything is created immediately because he glances over the material nature, and there is undoubtedly activity on the part of the Supreme Lord, but he has nothing to do with the manifestation of the material world directly. This example is given in Smriti. That means when there is a fragrant flower, before someone the fragrance is touched by the smelling power of the person. Yet, the smelling and the flower are detached from one another. There is a similar connection between the material world and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Actually, he has nothing to do with this material world, but he creates it by his glance and ordains. In summary, material nature without the superintendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot do anything. Yet, the Supreme Personality is detached from all material activities. Hare Krishna. So here, what we trying to understand is that the Lord says, I am the Supreme Being. I have created this material world. So without his glance, nothing has happened. We have already heard the very good saying, very great saying, not even a blade of grass moves without the sanction of the Supreme Will. Well, it's true. Not even a blade of grass is sanctioned without the Supreme Will. But the point to understand here is the Lord is never doing anything. The Lord is never doing anything. The Lord just created by a glance this material world and energy. Still, everything is working under his direction. This is what we need to understand. So it is saying that both everything manifests. Suyate, that means what is in the sloka? Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti. That means Maya Adhyakshena, the superintendence of this material nature. The superintendence, that means this the supervisory, everything. What do you call the superintendence? How do you explain the meaning? Yeah, if anybody can tell, also no problem. Otherwise, superintendence means it is under the pure direction of the supreme will. The the direction of the supreme personality of Godhead is this material world is created. that nothing is going to go without his direction and glance. So everything that takes place in this material world is under the superintendence of the Supreme Lord, Supreme Will of the Lord. So even the living beings and the non-living beings, both are under the direction of the Supreme Will. So that is why it is said that not even a blade of grass moves without the sanction of the Supreme Will of the Lord. So how to better understand this? Okay. So we can take an example like both living beings. Here we can just compare one analogy like the Supreme Lord in the Mahabharata. In the Mahabharata, the Supreme Lord had full control of what he was doing. Okay. Both Arjuna and Duryodhana were under the direction of the Supreme Will. Would you agree? Anybody would agree it or not agree it? Can you come alive? Somebody
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Agree, Prabhuji.
agreed. Okay. So how do you agree to this? How do you agree to this? You say that whatever Duryodhana did was by the supreme will of the Lord? No, we don't know. Whatever Arjuna did, okay, to many things Arjuna did, many things Arjuna didn't do, many things Duryodhana did, many things Duryodhana didn't do. But do you think that both are going in the same direction? If everything happens by Krishna's will, was Duryodhana doing by Krishna's will? That is the question. So that question will try to try to get the clarification now. Okay. So some of them may take Gita declaration similarly to a common mind, saying that not even a blade of grass with moves without the sanction of the supreme will. But here, Duryodhana, what is Duryodhana? Duryodhana actually, it is said that the Lord allowed some things. The Lord always allowed some things, but did not approve. In Duryodhana's case, the Lord allowed him to do many things, okay, but he did not approve it. But in the case of Arjuna, the Lord allowed him, the Lord not only allowed him, but also approved what Arjuna was doing, because Arjuna was in submissive. He was submissive. He was taking the permission of the Supreme Will, the Supreme Lord, always questioning the Supreme Lord, and then trying to do his activities. But in the other case, Duryodhana was doing it along with his whims and fancies. So whatever he comes to his mind, he say, yes, I'm going to do it. Yes, this is what is going to be done. So this is the difference between what happens is with if it is Krishna's will. Of course, Duryodhana also was a living being. He was also being created by the sanction of the supreme will. So here, now to better understand this, these are all the effects of the past karmas. Okay, everything is effect of a past karmas. Without any past karma, nobody can take this become a living entity, because the good and bad of the past is what is manifests you in this present situation. So we are not the cause of the present situation also. If we think it correctly, if we actually analyze ourselves being in this situation, whichever we are undergoing, it is not the we are not the cause. Okay, we are the reflection of the past. Whatever happened, whatever we did in the past actually reflects, and that is what we are shown as a mirror in this present situation. So much to understand about that, the past karmas and the present karmas, the future karmas, all these things do come. But how to overcome these things? These things can be just like that, overcome by this just the dependence on the supreme will of the Lord. So we have to take shelter of the supreme Lord. The supreme Lord actually gives us the guidance through our superiors. Who are our superiors? Our guide, our mentor, whom we choose, what we want to do, how we want to do. So by that we end up in doing either good karma or bad karma. But we also learn that doing good karma or bad karma also doesn't actually help us in our devotional service. Devotional service is how we can actually uh, practice is that we are not affected by the good or the bad. We have to be neutral to both. So we should not expect any praises. We should not expect any, we should not get affected by any abuses. So this is what the Lord actually teaches us. So the another thing is the returning to the Kurukshetra war was the time to curtail Duryodhana. Krishna wanted Arjuna to be part of the cosmic accountability initiative. So this is what is here. So, so another one more point I would like to discuss here is, you see this world. The world is like the sky, the earth, all these things. If you see the sky upside down like this, and you see it's got some limitations, and in between the wind is passing. The wind can pass up and down, the wind can pass sideways, any side. So this is the limit, but the upper limit is already there, the sky. Now the sky is compared to Krishna's jurisdiction. So what is the sky? The sky is compared to the upper sky is considered to Krishna's jurisdiction. And the wind which is blowing towards east or west or north or south depends on like our free will. The wind is like our free will. So who controls this? Krishna controls the scope of our free will. And it is not only our free will which controls ourselves. So here the Lord is the one who is controlling the scope of our free will. So Lord has given little bit of independence. The Lord has given every living entity most bit of independence. But how we can utilize that little independence is depending on the previous karmas and the whatever we are going to do in the present. We have not to go to do anything against the will of the Supreme Lord. If we are doing anything against the will of the Supreme Lord, directly proportional, we are doing against the material nature. And when we do anything against the material nature, then there is always a counter reaction. Okay, because we cannot escape from the laws of nature. Like the laws of nature, it says that we are not supposed to harm another living entity. Okay, we should not ever think of harming another living entity for our own pleasure. Okay, like this, this is the supreme will of the Lord. Okay, so we cannot change these laws, nature's laws. Okay, so we should not always try to interpret or into anybody's free will. Suppose if anybody is trying to be with you or something, we cannot overpower that. Okay, to certain extent you can do tell something for them to take the guidance or something like. But beyond that, if you start doing it, then slowly they will start to overpower you, because this is the lay of nature, like Newton's first law. If you throw a ball on the wall, it comes back. So the amount of force you throw the ball, it repels back. So this we need to understand. So how is that we have to balance these things? How is that we can balance all these things? So here it has already says that two examples given, that Arjuna and Duryodhana. How we can take Arjuna's example? How we can take Duryodhana's example? Duryodhana, though he was a child and he was being one among the hundred sons. Okay, and of course Arjuna was one among the five Pandavas. So here Duryodhana always was patted and praised, and always being taken by the things of their parents and all that. And he was given a lot of free will, and he exercised all the free will. He didn't mind to even think that, oh, this is going to harm them. Like in the Mahabharata epic, it is seen that Duryodhana went to such an extent even to mesmerize and kill the Pandavas. So because he wanted to enjoy the kingdom, enjoy the kingdom. But the supreme will was not like that. The law of nature didn't allow that. So everything, every pin and point of caution was given to the Pandavas. The Pandavas became aware, and they came to know how to escape from the clutches of this Maya. So this Maya is a thing that Maya is very helpful for us. We always should think that Maya Devi is not against us. Maya Devi is always going to help us. How Maya Devi is going to help us is that she gives the awareness. Yeah, this is the danger. Don't, be careful, do this, do that. So it gives us the thing. At the same time, if we are not responding to our good karma, good deeds which in the past, and the instructions of our good thoughts which comes to our mind, if we neglect them and if we ignore them, naturally we'll fall a prey to the situation of which Maya Devi has put a trap. So what we can come closer to understanding is that we have to always fence ourselves, like the Pandavas always fence themselves by the protection of Krishna's free will, Krishna's not to say free will, Krishna's always well-wishing and all that. So always the Pandavas were given protection by Krishna because they obeyed Krishna. They always everything they used to go to Krishna and ask him, like that. So even if you have come through the series of lectures which is going every day in the morning, Kunti Maharani's prayers. So Kunti Maharani is such a wonderful Maharani, such that she even thinks that I don't want to forget Krishna even for a moment's time. So she always prays that sometimes she's given in the Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, that Kunti Maharani just like that even prayed, even if you give me the greatest difficulties, okay, it's fine, but I don't want to forget you for even for just that moment. So such was the prayers of Kunti Maharani. And remember, just think how well she would have guided her sons, how well she would have given knowledge to her sons. So this is the greatest blessings. So what is that this Maya Adhyakshena, what is the sloka? Let us go back to the sloka. Maya Adhyakshana Prakriti means that is the superintendence of the supreme will is by the Lord himself, and it is for both sa chara acharam. That means chara acharam means both to the living and non-living. So we think only living beings are going to be get the blessings, are going to be the affection from the Lord. Even the non-living beings are taken care by the supreme will of the Lord. So, so it is said that told to son of Kunti that the cosmic manifestation is working by my direction and nothing else. It is only by my direction that everything is working. But even then, another point to be noted here is the supreme will, the material nature is working by a direction, but it is also not directly under the sanction of the supreme. That is, once the glance is done, once the Supreme Lord has glanced over all the material nature, it starts working. But then how it works? It works by the Prakriti. It works by the nature itself. The nature itself starts to work on itself. So that is the understanding we need to have. So we cannot ask Krishna that you only give me the solution. No, it is he has glanced and given the nature the awakening. But now how it is working? By Prakriti itself. Prakriti itself is making, like the father, seed giving father, aham bija prata. That means what? I am the seed giving father. When the father gives the seed to the mother's womb, and the mother in the womb, that the child develops. The same analogy here. when the living entity is brought to this material creation, the material creation take care of how he grows. The growth of the living entity, or the whatever you call it, is depends on the prakriti. It's not under the supreme. So ultimately, the glance is given by the supreme lord, and what is manifesting is further is by prakriti. So with this, I think I've tried to give justice to the purport of the sloka. I stop here. I thank each and everyone for giving me a patient listening. So, if you have any questions, reflections, you can come forward. Otherwise, we shall go to the next item. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam to all. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.